When Dana Brown gives us information, tidbits, anything, at this point, do you tend to believe what he says?
I make this joke all the time. He reminds me of a politician. He tells you exactly what you want to hear. We're going to give Jose Altuve an extension. We're going to give Alex Bregman an extension. We're going to give Framber Valdez an extension. Like he's Howard Dean. He's telling you everything you want to hear in the same way, in the opposite way of the way James Click operated, where James Click wouldn't tell you a damn thing. And hey, look, that works for quotes, that works in the media, but I do not trust Dana Brown generally when he speaks. I feel like there's a lot of polish on everything that comes out of his mouth.
Yeah, it's if he just would promise less, then we'd all feel differently. But it really goes back to the contract stuff of where he's really has gassed up a lot of stuff with Tucker and Framber and Bregman and Altuve and Javier, all these contracts, and he's gotten 2 done. And not that the expectation should be that every single thing he says he's going to accomplish, but he comes off in a way with confidence when he discusses these things that you kind of just believe him. And it was so different, so refreshing to hear him speak this way versus what you would hear from Click and Luno and Dusty. AJ was pretty honest, I would say. And that, like, it was like, oh, like, he's not going to say this if he doesn't mean it.
But you want it to be honesty at first. You think it's transparency, and that's the trick here, is that when you speak more, people are going to buy into it as transparency. But if you continuously say things that aren't delivered on, and to his credit, he delivered on the Jose Altuve contract, but I think we're all skeptical about a Bregman one. We have no idea what's going on with the Kyle Tucker one. And then eventually your actions speak louder than those very fluffy words which he's putting out there.
Yeah, so I would lean on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most believable person in the world, 1 being the worst. I'd put Dana Brown at like a 4.
That's right in the middle. Okay.
Because he got the Javier contract done.
He did.
He got the Altuve contract done.
He did.
So, and for the most part, he's been honest. Now, when he's talked about what they are going to do and not going to do in the offseason, he's kind of told us the truth. He said that they're not looking at starting pitching. Mistake, but they didn't look at starting pitching. They're looking at the bullpen. They had a Josh Hader. Now, Kendall Graveman might have needed to get hurt for that one to come true, but they have...
Is it a mistake that they didn't look at the starting pitching? I think right now they're dealing with so many injuries. I don't think that investing more resources into a position that you already have a ton when healthy, I don't know if that was the way to go. So I get people pushing back on Dana Brown for not adding more at that spot, specifically like Blake Snell. But Blake Snell in his first start yesterday, 3 innings pitched, he didn't look great. 73 pitches, I think, to get through 3 innings. He allowed 3 runs along the way. That's partly due to the fact that he didn't have a ramp-up period this spring. But just pushing back on that part of it.
No, I understand.
I don't think that they needed more starting pitching, though I know a lot of people wanted it, and I think that the results thus far are proof. I mean, outside of the poor fella last night, Blair Henley, it's been pretty good from the starting pitchers this year.
Yeah, besides Blair and Hunter Brown.
Hunter Brown.
His last start was obviously atrocious.
Right.
Yeah, to me, it was more of I want a little depth, a little protection, I would say, for when something like this happens.
But at this point, you have so many of these things going on.
I know.
At a certain point, you're just going to run out of money to actually work with.
No,
here.
for sure. Where do you compare Dana Brown to when he tells us information, little nuggets about what's going on with the Astros versus what you hear from, Nick Caserio or Rafael Stone when they speak with us?
Well, with Nick Caserio just talks forever and ever and ever, and he almost hypnotizes you into spacing out. Mm-hmm. Rafael Stone, I just look at him and I'm like, you thought Kevin Porter Jr. was the next James Harden, so I also have a hard time, I think, listening to him. Many would argue I just have a hard time listening, period. Sorry, Joe. I know you're learning that on the fly. He just puts so much polish on things, though. Whenever I hear or read something from Dana Brown, natural reaction is to roll my eyes a little bit. There was a quote yesterday before the game that the Astros rallied to win after that horrible inning by Blair Hensley. Quote, "I don't think there's any panic. The sky's not falling. The team is still good. Our pitching's still good. Our bullpen's still good. We can catch the baseball. So I think at some point we'll turn it around. As I've mentioned before, I think we'll get an 8-game winning streak or a 10-game winning streak, and things will all be back." And here's the funny thing. That is actually a quote that I believe with Dana Brown. But I had to pause for a moment and, swallow some of the natural puke that comes back up when I hear it. It was like, oh, come on, man.
Yeah.
It's all sunshine and rainbows with you. But I do believe that quote.
Yeah, I tend to agree with him too. That like the results on the field are going to balance out down the road. The reality is they just had a bad start to the season. They're 5-4 in their, or 5-3 in their last 8 games, I believe it is. That sounds right. Because they started the season 0-4.
You got 4 wins on the year.
I was trying to remember how many games they played versus the Rangers for a second. I was like,
they're 4-3.
Yeah, 4-game series always throw me off a little bit. 4-3 in their last 7 games.
Right, because they lost the first 4.
Get the calculator out.
Yep, I just had it.
You said 5 for a second. I was like, damn it, Joe.
I just wasn't looking at their record. I was like, did they win 5 games? Or I just forgot.
We'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. Just simple mistakes. We were doing really well.
Hooked on math.
I feel like we had like 4 or 5 days in a row without math problems until that moment.
And 2 of them were Saturday and Sunday. Yes. So 3 shows. Almost 3 shows.
Hey, man. I work on the weekend sometimes. Sometimes, it counts a little bit. So like
I work on the weekends too. It's called drinking, and it supposedly kills my brain cells. It's not messing my math up, but
I wish. I drank a lot this last weekend, actually. I was surprised.
Oh, yeah?
And we had a big crawfish night.
Ooh.
Yeah.
What pairs best with crawfish?
I mean, I always go IPA at this point, so that's
Oh man, you're going heavy.
yeah, I go a heavy IPA or like Blue Moon. I go pretty much as far as,
Wow, you're drinking loaves of bread.
Yeah. I need to move out the beer. That's why that's part of the diet challenge that I face is my love for beer versus hard alcohol.
So you don't like Pilsners, Kolsch's, those, because those are my go-tos. Always, it's generally lighter beer.
Yeah.
Not entirely because I'm a vain idiot who wants to have abs. It's because I legitimately like Kolsch and Pilsner the most. Nothing against IPA. IPA is good, but when I have an IPA, I feel like I've eaten a loaf of bread.
Yeah, I love them. It's some of my go-to for basically since I was in college.
I haven't liked Blue Moon since college.
Yeah, I don't drink it often.
I used to love it, and now I have it. I'm like, oh god,
No,
I can't do it anymore.
Like it's one of those where like I'll only have it like for like I don't know why when I have crawfish. Like it seems like the only time I order it. I don't know why.
No, well, it clearly it pairs well for whatever reason.
Yeah, for whatever reason
you.
I like it.